You may not notice it at first. The text on a page looks a bit fuzzy. Headlights at night seem harsher, the glare more distracting. Your eyes start to burn, itch, or feel dry for no clear reason. Then slowly but steadily your vision loses its edge. For most adults over 60, this is how it begins. Not sudden blindness, but a gradual erosion that builds silently. The real issue isn't just aging. It's what's happening inside your eyes. The tiny blood vessels that feed your retina begin to weaken. The pigments that filter harmful light start to break down. And long-term inflammation driven by poor diet and chronic stress damages the tissues that make sight possible. This is the same biological process that leads to cataracts, macular degeneration, and diabetic eye disease. But let's be clear, you're not powerless. There are proven natural ways to protect and even restore your eyes. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated routines. Often the best tools are already in your kitchen. Today, I'll show you 3 powerful foods clinically shown to hydrate dry eyes, strengthen the retina, reduce inflammation, and help maintain clear vision beyond 60. These are the same foods I recommend to my own patients, and the results, though gradual, are consistent and measurable. Pay close attention. Whether you're already noticing decline or simply want to protect what you have, you still have time to make real progress. If this is your first consultation, welcome. If you value clear, practical, evidence-based guidance for staying healthy and independent as you age, subscribe and stay with us. Now let's start with the first food, the key nutrient your eyes depend on to rebuild themselves from the inside out. Nutritional Pillar 1 oily fish for retinal integrity and hydration. When a patient over 60 sits in my office and states, "Doctor, my eyes feel persistently dry, as if there is sand constantly irritating them," one of my first clinical inquiries is, how frequently are you incorporating oily fish into your diet? The underlying fact that many patients overlook is this: the structural component of your eyes is significantly composed of fat. Not just any fat, but DHA docosahexaenoic acid, a specific omega-3 fatty acid that constitutes between 30% and 60% of your entire retina's structure. If your body fails to secure an adequate supply of DHA, your photoreceptors, the cells responsible for capturing light, become structurally weakened, prone to inflammation, and ultimately deteriorate. This is not speculation. It is established cellular biology. A 2016 study published in the Journal of Lipid Research clarified that DHA is not merely structural. It is also crucial for regulating inflammation inside the ocular environment and maintaining the essential fluidity of retinal membranes, which ensures that nerve signals are transmitted rapidly and clearly. Targeted DHA absorption. This is where oily fish, specifically varieties such as wild salmon, sardines, herring, and mackerel, become indispensable. These sources deliver preformed DHA, meaning it is immediately bioavailable for your body to utilize without needing complex enzymatic conversions, unlike plant-based omega-3 sources. This distinction is particularly relevant as you age, given that the efficiency of your liver in converting the plant-based precursor ALA into usable DHA diminishes significantly after the age of 60. This means a flaxseed smoothie alone will likely prove insufficient for adequately protecting your eyes in your later years. Furthermore, oily fish actively counters the chronic inflammation that silently ravages the delicate capillaries within your retina and optic nerve. A 2021 review published in the journal Nutrients confirmed that adequate intake of omega-3s significantly slowed the progression of diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration, and chronic dry eye syndrome. How exactly does this work? Omega-3 fatty acids directly interfere with the production of inflammatory cytokines and are instrumental in generating the tears necessary to keep your eyes appropriately moist and protected. Let me share a brief clinical anecdote. Harriet, age 72, habitually used artificial tears 6 to 8 times every day. After adhering to a regimen of consuming wild salmon with lunch 3 times weekly, she reported within 6 weeks, "I have not needed my eye drops for several days. My eyes finally feel normal again." This is about more than just comfort. Well-lubricated eyes exhibit less susceptibility to damage from airborne pollution screen exposure or UV radiation. Here is an additional critical benefit: DHA is profoundly neuroprotective. This means it helps safeguard the optic nerve, the vital neural cable that transmits visual signals from the eye to your brain. If this nerve becomes chronically inflamed or damaged, the consequence is not merely blurred vision, but potentially complete loss of sight. What is the definitive medical recommendation? If your goal is to rebuild and protect your vision, the consumption of oily fish is non-negotiable. You should aim for a minimum of 2 to 3 servings per week. When possible, prioritize wild-caught fish due to their typically lower pollutant levels and higher natural omega-3 concentration. Sardines are also a highly effective, budget-friendly option, often available canned and ready to consume. Integrate them into salads, blend them into avocado toast, or enjoy them simply grilled with lemon and olive oil. You do not require a sophisticated, expensive supplement. You require the correct type of fish in the correct quantity at this pivotal stage of your life. After age 60, the time to prioritize this is definitively now. Symptom: check for oily fish. Dry eye frequency. Do you apply artificial tears more than 3 times a day? Burning sensation. Does your burning or gritty eye sensation primarily occur in the morning or late evening? Light sensitivity. Do bright lights or headlights cause disproportionate discomfort or watering? Screen time. After how many minutes of looking at a computer or phone screen, do your eyes begin to feel tired or inflamed? Nutritional pillar 2. Bell peppers for vascular strength. If you have ever instinctively rubbed your tired eyes only to notice red streaks or small ruptured vessels afterward, or if your ophthalmologist has noted that your ocular capillaries appear fragile, then you must pay close attention to this next dietary component: bell peppers. They may appear unassuming, but do not be misled by their vibrant colors. Red, yellow, and green bell peppers are among the richest natural sources of vitamin C, significantly exceeding the content found in citrus fruits like oranges. This high vitamin C concentration is paramount because the surface of your eyes, the retina, and even your cornea are utterly dependent on a dense network of tiny, fragile blood vessels to deliver necessary oxygen and nutrients. When these vessels weaken, become permeable, or actually rupture, the delicate ocular tissues are starved, leading to scarring, blurred vision, chronic irritation, and in advanced pathology, irreversible vision loss. Vitamin C is critically important because it is essential for the synthesis and maintenance of collagen, the primary structural protein that functions as the glue holding these fragile capillaries together. It also provides essential support to the vitreous humor, the clear gel-like substance that fills your eye, helping it to remain firm and retain its proper structure. A 2014 study published in Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Science established a direct link: individuals with a higher dietary intake of vitamin C had a significantly lower risk of developing cataracts, especially as they progressed past 60 years of age. Comprehensive ocular protection. Bell peppers also contain beta-carotene, which is the precursor to vitamin A utilized by your body to maintain the protective health of the corneal surface. Furthermore, they are densely packed with lutein and zeaxanthin, the 2 carotenoids that function to filter out damaging blue light and protect the macula, the retinal region responsible for sharp central vision. These pigments are more than simple antioxidants. They function as a pair of built-in physiological sunglasses for your eyes. However, a detail most people overlook is that these specific nutrients are delicate. Cooking can easily degrade them. Therefore, for maximal benefit to your eye health, the consumption of bell peppers is best achieved in their raw state, sliced thinly in salads used as a crunchy vehicle for hummus or guacamole, or tossed into cold pasta preparations. Consider the case of Frank, age 68, who suffered from repeated spontaneous rupture of vessels in his eye and wanted to avoid surgical intervention. I recommended incorporating half a raw bell pepper into his lunch every day. 2 months later, his visible redness had substantially subsided, and he reported that his eyes felt fundamentally stronger. While diet is not a miraculous cure, when you consistently supply your body with the precise raw materials it requires, its capacity for natural repair is often surprising. My clinical counsel is this: start small. Integrate just 1/2 of a raw bell pepper into your daily routine. It is a cost-effective, flavorful, and crunchy addition, and this simple habit could be the deciding factor between constantly dry, tired eyes and the sustenance of bright, properly nourished vision as you continue to age. Symptom check for bell peppers. Vascular fragility. Have you experienced unexplained red spots or burst blood vessels on the white of your eye? Subconjunctival hemorrhage cataract history. Does your family have a history of developing cataracts early before age 70? Detail fatigue. Do you find that fine detail work, e.g. threading a needle-detailed drawing, causes your eyes to fatigue unusually quickly? Glaring is the glare from bright daylight or reflected surfaces becoming noticeably more bothersome than last year. Nutritional pillar 3. Sunflower seeds for nerve protection. Now let us address one of the most frequently overlooked root causes of vision loss in older patients, particularly those with a diagnosis of diabetes or pre-diabetes nerve damage. We are specifically discussing a condition known as diabetic retinopathy, which is a leading contributor to blindness among seniors in the United States. It initiates when chronically elevated blood sugar silently destroys the minute blood vessels and nerves that permeate the retina. In its early stages, the sensation may be dismissed as mere tired eyes or minor temporary blurred spots. If left untreated, however, this pathology can relentlessly progress to total vision loss. Crucially, this damage often commences even before blood sugar levels are officially recognized as being severely uncontrolled. Fortunately, there is a protective nutrient that many seniors are quietly deficient in: vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Thiamine is essential for proper nerve conduction and efficient blood sugar metabolism. It actively helps to prevent the dangerous accumulation of a harmful metabolic byproduct called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These AGEs function like sticky, destructive clumps that obstruct and ultimately destroy blood vessels throughout your body, including those within your eyes. A 2015 study in diabetic syndrome indicated that thiamine supplementation resulted in a significant reduction in retinal oxidative stress and nerve inflammation in diabetic patients, thereby lowering their specific risk of retinopathy. Where is the best source of natural thiamine? One of the most effective sources is simple, affordable, and extremely easy to integrate into your routine: sunflower seeds. Supporting the ocular nervous system. Just a small handful of raw, unsalted sunflower seeds consumed daily can provide substantial support to your eye health. They are also highly concentrated in vitamin E, a formidable antioxidant that specifically shields the delicate nerve fibers of the eye from oxidative damage. Allow me to provide a relevant case example. Deborah, age 71, was presenting with early-stage diabetic nerve damage in her right eye. I recommended the daily inclusion of sunflower seeds. 3 months later, her eye scans showed significant stabilization, and the deterioration of her vision had successfully halted. This illustrates the quiet yet profound power that simple food can possess. If you do not prefer sunflower seeds, other excellent B1-rich alternatives include flax seeds, acorn squash, and nutritional yeast. The key element, however, is absolute consistency. A handful today, another tomorrow, and the day after this is the iterative process by which you construct a cumulative layer of protection over time. Additionally, if you have struggled with unstable blood sugar spikes, chronic fatigue, or unexplained tingling in your extremities, thiamine supports not only your eyes, but your entire peripheral nervous system. Therefore, do not wait for the moment when a clinician tells you that all viable options have been exhausted. Provide your eyes with the necessary nutrients before the damage becomes irreversible. A simple spoonful of seeds may seem insignificant, but over the long term, it possesses the potential to save your sight. Symptom check for sunflower seeds. Blood sugar control. Have you recently experienced unexplained fluctuations or difficulty stabilizing your blood sugar levels? Peripheral symptoms. Do you experience any tingling numbness or pins and needles sensation in your hands or feet? A sign of peripheral neuropathy. Visual flotation. Are you noticing an increase in floaters or small spots, threads drifting across your field of vision? Adaptation. Do you feel that your vision is simply not as resilient as it used to be, requiring more rest after reading or detail work? The prescription building a sustainable vision protecting regimen. Now that we have established how oily fish bell peppers and sunflower seeds collectively function to protect and repair your vision, the next logical question is, how do I consistently incorporate these foods every day without the process becoming overly complicated or burdensome? The fact is, the recovery of your vision does not necessitate a strict, demanding diet or the sourcing of exotic ingredients. What it demands is consistency and the implementation of a few strategic choices, one meal at a time. Let me provide a realistic example of how a day dedicated to vision renewal might be structured for a patient over 60. Morning routine. You could begin your day with a nourishing bowl of oatmeal, topped with a generous sprinkle of raw sunflower seeds and some chopped walnuts. Complement this with a boiled egg on the side, ensuring you consume the yolk for its lutein-rich content. This is a balanced start that immediately sets your eyes up for the day. Midday meal lunch. A salad should become your most powerful tool. Combine thin slices of raw bell peppers, dark leafy greens like spinach or Swiss chard, and a half portion of avocado. Crucially, add a portion of grilled wild salmon, or if time is limited, a can of sardines. A minimal drizzle of high-quality olive oil will finish the plate, providing the healthy fats necessary for absorbing the fat-soluble carotenoids. Evening meal. Dinner. Dinner does not require complexity. Try a piece of simple grilled mackerel or baked herring paired with roasted sweet potatoes and steamed broccoli. You can also mix in a side of quinoa and stir in some extra sunflower seeds for both texture and an additional boost of B1. These carefully designed meals do far more than support your eyes. They act synergistically to reduce inflammation throughout your entire system, stabilize blood sugar levels, and provide fuel for your brain and overall energy reserves. I fully understand that some of you may be thinking, "But doctor, I no longer have the capacity or inclination to cook elaborate meals," or "I am on a fixed income and cannot afford expensive ingredients." I acknowledge these concerns entirely. This is why I always stress the importance of starting with what is feasible. Even the commitment to adding just one raw bell pepper to your weekly intake or selecting wild salmon just once instead of frozen fish sticks constitutes a significant step forward. And if preparing salmon feels overwhelming, a small can of sardines packed in olive oil costs very little and remains shelf-stable for months. Mix it onto toast or fold it into a simple salad. The task is complete. This regimen is not about achieving perfection. It is about the patient, sustained building of small, consistent habits that accumulate slowly, naturally, and gently. Because your eyes do not require a miracle intervention. They require the correct raw materials consistently delivered in forms that your body can efficiently utilize. Once you begin this process, your body and your vision will definitively register the difference. If you have followed this consultation to its conclusion, I want to share a simple, honest sentiment. Thank you. Thank you not just for watching, but for actively choosing to invest time and energy into learning about your own body, understanding your own health, and recognizing the possibilities for your future. Losing vision with age transcends a mere problem with the eyes. It embodies the loss of confidence, the loss of independence, that persistent, quiet fear of being unable to drive, to decipher a grandchild's card, or to clearly see your own reflection. but please internalize this truth. It does not have to conclude that way. You possess a greater capacity for self-healing and protection than you have been led to believe. And that power is not contained within a pill bottle. It resides in your kitchen. It is found in your daily choices. One food, one intentional meal, one small sustained habit at a time. Whether it is a forkful of grilled salmon, a bite of crunchy bell pepper, or a small sprinkle of sunflower seeds onto your breakfast, these actions are potent because they are a message to your body. I am not conceding. I am still here. I still care about my future. When you consistently show up for your body day after day, your body will consistently surprise you with its capacity for recovery. So regardless of your current position on this journey, whether your sight is actively diminishing or you are simply aiming to safeguard what you have, please remember this fundamental fact. It is not too late. Your narrative is not yet complete. Your body was physiologically designed to heal quietly, gently, and consistently. The fact that you have remained here still engaged demonstrates that you have not relinquished the fight. And neither have I. If this consultation has provided you with clarity or even a small measure of encouragement, I would be grateful if you would engage with this content, share it with someone who may need this information, or leave a comment below. Let others know they are not facing this challenge in isolation. If this is your first time here, I sincerely invite you to subscribe for more simple science-backed guidance you can trust. Until our next consultation, diligently care for your eyes, and they will in turn care for you.